lighter. There we go, that's a nice baby pink colour, so that's better. And then I'll start popping that in again. And just double checking what the angles are like, because it gets a little bit sort of more straight as you go down. So you might not necessarily pick it up so much in the zoom, but you'll pick it up a bit more in video. Just got to try and not have too much wash on there, otherwise you really are just painting a wash again. And so you want your brush to be reasonably dry and all little thing to be splayed out. Now, what I would say is the initial, look, he's back, the initial washes of this, the initial layers don't look that great. This is still another sort of thing where it's not ever going to be your last layer, it's still going to be something that you need to sort of build up on to make it look nice. I'll soften it a bit there. Goes into quite a bright highlight there, but while we're doing that, we can add a bit more pink. As well. Oh, that will be my New Zealand accent for you. I mean, magenta's one thing, but saying pink must be quite another. Oh look, there he is. Okay, I'm going to just pop in a little bit of that magenta on the top there, leaving some gaps where the highlights are quite strong, just a little bit before I start further down. Okay. And this is also where you get to practice your long lines of colour, which is really helpful. If I don't try to do things in one go, rather than trying to sort of paint down, because it's hard to everything to look smooth, and you can just help. It's easier to blend longer lines of colour than lots of little sort of washes. Just making up a little bit more magenta on the side and a little wash. There's my... Oh, there he is. Okay, it's certainly darker through here, so we can, now that it's a bit damp, we can add some more depths in there. might do is, I'll see how damp this part of the paper is. It's a bit way too strong. It might be better. Okay, I'll just zoom in a little bit on my image. Actually, I'm seeing, as I do zoom in, so we'll probably introduce some more colour into there too. I do see a bit of quite a nice rust colour in there. We can add, but for the moment it can be this magenta. We can do some layers. That's my brush. Just sort of be a little bit more careful at the bottom here. And even through here we can go just a little bit here. So just running some lines up the area of pink. We'll possibly tone it down a little bit later, but it's always nice to, you can easily tone something down. It's really hard to take it back to a bright colour, so you want to just leave that at that stage. We can come through here. Leaving some of those little patches of paper as highlights. And really my brush is really quite dry, and that's one thing that I like to, I almost use it like a drawing tool rather than a paintbrush. I mean, if I have to rub it a couple of times to get a line, you can tell that it's quite a dry brush, right? So rather than having too much colour that just comes out in one line, it gives me a chance to even draw just like that. So I quite like doing that a lot. It's super controlled that way. And you don't get unexpected blobs of colour. Especially around this area here where you do want just little bits here and there, and you want to make sure you leave some of those highlights that we see, and actually even just that tapping it down, making some other textures where it looks a little bit less of a line and more of bumps and things. And that's a bit of a long process really, of just sort of working your way through that and intensifying some of the lines you see and leaving others, and sort of working into that a little bit more. And again, because of course my brush is quite dry, you know, it's almost like drawing. Well, it is like drawing actually. So I'm just picking out some of those lines that we had in there, and the sort of depths of this part of the shadow, pulling those back out, because then it gives us a nice sort of glow really. Wow, it's like almost an hour. I can't believe that time went by really fast. Our village clock tolls at 7 p.m. for us here now in France. It was 8 o'clock before daylight savings, but they haven't changed
So
it.
you've already changed.
Yeah, we did on the weekend actually.
We do it next weekend here.
So you'll either be very late or very early to our next class. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's called fallback, so you get an extra hour of sleep.
Yes, that's right.
My favorite day of the year.
Honestly,
Yeah, it's a lot
I was
easier.
like, oh yes.
It really is like my Christmas.
I bet it is. It's like, yes. I mean, it's even nicer if it's doing it on a weekday, because then you actually take advantage of it. If you're doing it on a weekend, it's not quite the same, because you could have absorbed it. But and this happened on I think on a weekend for us as well. But we're a little bit disconnected. I mean, we're watching a little bit more TV and things these days, French TV, but it's been in the past where John and I have gotten up and jumped in the car and gone for a weekend market, and we've arrived an hour early because we didn't realise that it was, you know, daylight savings the night before. Because in a way we live a little bit like we're permanently on holiday in France. You know, I haven't worn a watch for the whole year, and
Isn't it nice?
yeah, all those things just sort of.
Are they still doing the open air markets, Denise, or do they have to close them down now?
Oh well, now since Macron did his little speech yesterday, they may be shut. They will be shut because it's not essential. Oh no, actually only markets if it's selling things like farmers markets, that will, because we don't. The French love to support local and buy local and all those things, and we have our, you know, farmers markets. I mean, it sounds trendy, but it's just the village market, you know. The little van comes and it has the bread van, the cheese van,
Okay.
the
Oh, I love it.
charcuterie van. It has all the dried meats and things. Actually, that's right. That's normally the cheese guy as well. And so, you know, they just roll up to the villages, to the different villages on the different days, and you know, the housewife or whomever goes out and picks up the things they need and goes back home. So those won't stop, because that's actually how a lot of people sort of shop here for their fresh things.
I think it sounds wonderful.
It is lovely.
And what's thriving in the United States is like food delivery.
Yeah, you can get. Which is
Oh yeah.
good.
I haven't gone into a grocery store since March. It's really weird.
That's good.
I miss it.
Do you?
I miss picking out my own pears.
Oh yeah, well there's that. The whole, if they could
Things
just,
that are ripe.
if they could just get a,
things that are
yeah, if they could just get an adult woman who, like, just get a mum to pick out all the fruit and vegetables for the supermarkets.
That's right.
Because how many
right.
times I've gotten my bruised bananas and I'm like, really? Or you've gotten the, you know, the things that you go, no, I wouldn't have picked that from the bunch, thanks. But, you know.
right.
and
Or
it's-
the onions that are sprouting.
Yeah, right. You're like, excuse me. Yes.
The worst of that are the teenage boys.
Yeah, they just don't even know.
You know, but you feel sorry for them because they used to be waiters and you know, bus boys, and they're out of work, so they have to do something. But
Not pick your apples. That's what they have to do.
no.
Something other than that.
Or plums, or you know, anything that has to be right
Not put your pears or peaches or anything on the bottom of the bag.
on the bottom of the bag.
Honestly, I know, and I mean, really, it's like, and that's a big thing. Even over here, you're like, really. So, yeah, there's a consultancy service right there that somebody could run, like, you know, Mums to the Rescue or something, and then they go
that's a
in.
great idea.
And they go into the supermarkets and they teach everybody how to pick it. And it's like, if that looks like that, don't even, you know. Mostly because
Yes.
otherwise you won't go back to them. You know, it's like if you're constantly getting that, well, it's just, you know, if they offer the service, do the service, I say.
Yeah.
Don't do it half sort of. If you
Teach
say,
your people.
yeah. And it's true though, like you say, there's some folks that wouldn't know a good thing from another, and maybe it is sort of kids that are sort of doing the menial tasks and stuff, but really, you
They
know,
should. I agree. They should give them a intro.
Yeah, they need a
Groceries 101.
yeah, they need the eye of a mum to sort of just give
Yes.
them or a house or homemaker. I'm not a mum, but I can certainly, I'm picky on my food. You know, I mean, just there you go. So somebody run with that, please, and export it all over the world because we need it in France too.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, good.
I
See,
hate grocery shopping, so I will not work on it.
Oh, I love grocery shopping. It's so bad.
It gives me such anxiety.
really, why?
Really?
What do you
I don't
find?
know why. I get overwhelmed.
Do you?
Christmas Day overwhelming.
Oh, do you? Too many choices?
No, I just, you know, I'm single and so I hate cooking and I
Yeah.
also am like,
Sure.
I'd rather just eat cereal.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I know, like, I like fruits, vegetables. I like a meal once in a while. But like,
I know.
You know,
Having to
you don't
make it
wanna-
all the time, it's like, oh God, really? Do I have to eat again?
yeah, exactly. You make a meal and you're like, can I do this again tomorrow?
You make a lot, and then you can eat, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
Days.
Then freeze it.
So I finally just decided to order my groceries off Amazon.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and so now going to the grocery store is like my day out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, now it's like an experience.
I don't mind it so much now, but I'm still doing some Amazon.
I miss going to the grocery store and finding new things because they can only, when you shop online, you sort of get you tend to go to your go-to items. Oh, I get this brand of this and this and this and this. When you're in the supermarket, you can sort of explore and you can sort of see a few other new things, so you don't get that so much. So I kind of miss that.
That's what I miss.
and stuff. But again, they could be offering those. And our supermarket, our French supermarket, doesn't have the same amount of stuff as inside. It seems crazy. It's like you've got it there, just stick it online. How hard can it be? But it's not. It's very limited. So, you know. But there you
It's
go.
all frustrating, however.
Yeah, it is.
There is one grocery service, I think it's called Grubhub.
Oh
It
yeah.
works with some upscale market called Fresh Market. And they're really cute because the people will actually take a picture. Is this the kind of plum? Is this
Okay.
the color banana? And if you get one of those people, it's a delight in a way.
That's a really good idea. I mean, you could easily have on their website when you order bananas, you could choose, green, ready to go, and almost got dots on. Whichever one you prefer,
From
you need.
Dark brown,
Yeah.
dark brown bananas.
Yeah, things like that. Because we never know what banana we're going to get, whether we're going to get green ones or ready to eat ones. So you sort of things like that. All the troubles of easy living. Honestly, I mean. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, we should be complaining, right? It's
Yeah.
not.
There's a
The
lot.
bananas aren't right.
Yeah. All right.
You can't ask them to taste your grapes, though. I've done that.
You can. You can.
I have said, the grapes all look the same, but if you will just taste one, you will tell me if it's sour or if it's edible.
Oh.
And then we'll decide what we're going to get.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. Here you just know, because I know that Muscat grapes taste brilliant, so I get Muscat grapes. I won't really get anything else.
What kind of cheeses do you have? You're in the Southwest?
Oh no, too many. Honestly, you've never seen so much cheeses in France in general. It's a major food group here, so you get a lot. By the way, while we're chatting, putting on some lemon yellow. I'm just gonna pop a bit on there around here. Yeah, lots of cheese.
So good.
The next few years is to go live in France for 2 weeks.
Oh yes.
Whenever we can go places.
Yeah, right. And the life after COVID. Yeah, and in the beginning, when I first came here, I did sort of have lots of cheese. I'd buy cheese and stuff. And then you get to a point where you say, well, actually, I'm living here. I can't eat like a tourist because I won't be able to, function. And so, because you sort of, as a tourist, you can eat all that stuff and have brie coming out your ears and every, meal or whatever. So I did sort of put that on hold a little bit. But the problem was our village is quite social when all our friends are back in. Some Americans, some Australians, whatever. And we all like to get together and have aperitif, which is drinks and nibbles, but their nibbles are quite substantial, being cheeses and things. So I now leave it to that, and that's when I buy it. I mean, not when I buy it, when I eat it is at aperitif time rather than at somebody else's place rather than mine. So, and then that way, you get to live another day. Because I think we, because we haven't been brought up with it like the French, in moderation, do tend to go a little bit overboard. I'm sure the French just have a nibble, because it's like, they have it every day of their lives. They've had it since they're children. And you should see the children's lunch boxes here when they eat food at a school. They have
Yes.
a proper piece of meat of some description. They'll have maybe a little bit of pasta, a little bit. They'll have a wedge of brie cheese from President, and they'll have some grapes on the side, and they'll have a salad. And that is their lunch. It's like,
Lovely.
I mean, there's not a crispy anything inside, and
Nothing fried.
no. And no
Ketchup.
no bread, no ketchup, God no, and no bread, no, because what they should be having, like the pasta with a sauce of some description, whether it's a tomato sauce or a thing, should taste great all on its own. I mean, they're French, right? So so they don't look at cheese and go, oh my God, cheese, because they've just had it forever. so I've had to sort of be a bit careful. That, and you know, I stopped ordering croissant and things. So the croissants, the chocolate, what's it? So I don't sort of get those either because
Oh, pain au
that's just
chocolat,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's just trouble waiting to happen if you want to keep going down that path. So I don't. All right. So there is some detail work that you can sort of do here. You can intensify all of this and all of this, and work back in here and grab some of those lines that you might cover over by building up that colour, and you know you want to go back in there and pop a few of them in because they're quite nice to have. This has got some lemon yellow on there, and I'm just running it down through there again. So probably I still want it to be a nice warm shadow. Well, it's more like in parts of it looks like a glow, which is really nice. So do that, and let's see what else. We're almost out of time, but in the very beginning stages of this, we can do, and we have to wait really for everything to dry before we continue too much more, but that is a very light wash, just tiny light wash of magenta, just a little, we can't barely see them there. Just on this highlight over here, the side, which isn't actually a highlight, there is a little bit of colour in there, so we just run a little bit down, and we can run a little bit down here. There's still a few little gaps and things which I want to make sure I keep. Really lightly. So there's a few sort of lines that come in and some that don't, and I'll just emphasise that a little bit more. So most definitely it's gotten a bit brighter, and that's what we want. As much, and I just want to run a little bit of magenta up over here to start tying that together. It was all lemon yellow just at that edge, and I want it to be yellow but not quite that yellow. So just pop in a bit of that, and whilst we're down there, there's also a nice sort of glow of pink that we can pop in here as well. It will help define those two areas of it. Okay. That might be roughly it for this lesson. So just take your time over here, and course not going to pick out every single bobble and bit that you see. Just some of them are good. And some will be able to just intensify a little bit after as well. I'll take a close-up shot and you can see what that looks like. Let's see. There are a few parts that we'll definitely get more colour in. Yeah, so that whole area, just a little bit of time to sort of pop in a few bits, and you probably want to change your brush to something a little bit finer as well. It'll help you control things as well, I think.
Denise, do you have a favorite brush or favorite brand?
No, I started with Winsor & Newton, the Sable Series 7. Then I looked it up the other day. I was like, God, I can't believe I paid that much for a brush. It was something like $25 or something for one. I was like, goodness me. I clearly was working and didn't have a problem with it in my previous life. And so, but I hadn't really bought any more since then. I've gone into, like, I've got this brush, I'm supposed to be seeing what it's like really, by the Brush Man. His name is The Brush Man. And
The Brush Man?
yeah, he's out of the UK. Really reasonable
Jackson's?
price. No,
Does
no,
Jackson's have him?
no, but you can just order off his
His
website. It's not called the Brushman, the website. I'd have to get the name off it for you. And they are sable brushes as well. And he's something like a 3rd generation brush maker. So I quite like that. I quite like the fact that he's sort of a lone star, really. You know, doing something, because that's kind of nice to support rather than companies. But then there's also that Rosemary and something brushes. I've had some of theirs.
Rosemary and Co. Yeah.
I've had some of their brushes over the years, but I can't quite remember. Yeah, so
There
actually,
used to be a French or Italian brush company named Luco, Luco.
okay. No, I don't know.
And I can't find them anymore. And I have some brushes that are literally 10 years old and they still have a point. But I'm down to my last two.
Okay, well,
But it was Luco, Luco. So if you ever come across it,
well, you know,
I believe they were Italian.
these days, if it's not online, then they're probably not around anymore,
Then
because
they're
I
not
just
there,
think that
yeah.
they would have just stayed, wouldn't they? And, yeah, I mean, because that's just, that's the easy way now with everybody. My brushes don't last, their points don't last. And why would one? I mean, if you're painting something like, you know, some large piece, there's no way that my points ever last more. That my brush is always just getting downgraded. Here's my water brush. He had a nice point.
So it becomes the water brush.
Yeah, he had a nice point at one point. Now he's not got anything, so he's just sort of rounded. So I use those, and I've got lots of them that do that. They slowly, and sometimes you don't notice, and then you're like, gosh, I really don't have a point in this thing when you're trying to do something quite fine. So okay, so that's that. Yep. So I'm just puttering away as we're talking, but I'll let you go. Do whatever it is you're doing, all staying safe and well, everybody. Don't go outside. Don't breathe anything. All that. No, don't go outside. Don't breathe. Don't see people.
Don't go outside. Don't breathe.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
Oh, I know. It's like, goodness me.
Thank you.
Oh, hey.
Thanks, Denise. Yes.
I will.
Yes.
I can say. I'll say it on the video so that you know. It's the email for the Brushman is thebrushman@hotmail.co.uk.
Is it one word or 2 words, brush man?
All one word. The Brushman
Hotmail
at hotmail
dot
co uk. He's a bit old school, this guy.
.uk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, David Jackson. Oh yes, somebody said Jackson's, and I thought you meant the large website.
Well, yeah, that's the
website.
other, the art.
His name is actually David Jackson, but I don't think he's a relation to them. Okay. All right, everyone. I'll take photos of this and send it through in the video, and I probably will do a little bit more and send that through to you as well, so we can keep on going. And have a great week.
Great.
All
Thank you
righty.
very much.
All right. Bye. Okay. Oh, got to turn off the video.